Good morning, everyone. My name is Arslan, and you are watching Proper Pariksha, the place where we strive for academic excellence in a simple and comprehensive manner. So, today we will be starting a new chapter, that is chapter 8 of class 6 mathematics, titled as Decimals. So, I hope that you have gone through our previous videos till chapter 7 of class 6 mathematics. In case we have not, the link of the playlist is mentioned in the description. You can browse our videos from there. It will be better if you go through the following chapters beforehand. That is, first is comparing numbers, second is integers, third is fractions. If you have gone through these three chapters, then the chapter of decimals will be much easier to understand. If you have not, then it might be a little bit difficult. So without any further delay, let's start. So first of all, the topic of decimal is to be described, is to be understood, that what are decimals. So before starting the chapter, first we have to understand. So decimals can be easily understood by using the example or the similarity with the fractions. So let us say I write three fractions over here, 1 upon 2, then I will write 3 upon 2, and then I will write 1 upon 2. So here you can see that I have written three types of fractions. First is the proper fraction, second is the improper fraction, and third is the mixed fraction. So first we'll take the proper fraction as an example. So proper fraction 1 upon 2 can be written as what? Try dividing 1 with 2. Then you will understand that it can be written in which other manner or which other form. So 1 will be divided by 2, and you will see that 1 is not divisible by 2 as of now. So what we'll do is that we'll add a point and we'll add a 0. After that, what we'll do, we'll just translate both 1 and 0 over here, because now 10 is divisible by 2. So 10 is divisible by 2. How many times? It is divisible by 5 times. And since the point is over here, we will mention the point over here. And then we will subtract 10 minus 10, and that will give us 0. Or you can say 1.0 minus 1.0, and that will give us 0. So the answer of dividing 1 upon 2 will give us 0.5. So here there are some things which can be understood with this example only. First is that a fraction can be represented, fraction 1 upon 2 can be written as 0.5 in the decimal. That is point number 1. What is the second point? The second point is that this point is known as the decimal point. That is known as the decimal point. Now coming to point number 3, that is the digits mentioned over on the left side of the decimal point. On the left side of the decimal point are representing the totality of the parts or the number of whole in that particular scenario. Or and not or and the digits mentioned on the right side of the decimal point represent the number of parts of that particular whole that are also under consideration. So this is point number 3, and 3a, that is the left side, and 3b, that is the left side. The second point was decimal point, or not dm, it will be dp, and the first point was how 1 upon 2 can be written as a fraction. Okay, so this was point number 1. So considering all the 3 points, what is the best definition that you can come up with for a decimal? The best definition which you can come up with for a decimal is that decimals are nothing but a type of number which represent a part of the whole, in which the digits on the left side of the decimal point represent the number of parts that are present in totality, bracket, in whole, WHOLE, not HOLE, and the digits on the right side of the decimal point represent the number of parts of that whole which are under consideration. And then you can write that, for example, if you write 2.5, you can see that there are total number of 2 parts that are present in totality or as a whole, and there is 0.5 or 1 upon 2 part of the whole that is mentioned as a part in this particular scenario. If you want to represent it diagrammatically or pictorially, then what you will do, you will make a one full circle, you will make another full circle, and you will make another full circle. Shade the following circle and divide it by 2. This will also be divided by 2 and shade this full circle, and this you will shade it and you will only shade it half of it, not total of it. And therefore you can write that this particular diagram represents the decimal 2.5. Another thing which can be understood is that we can convert a decimal into a fraction and a fraction into a decimal. So this is point number 4 which we can understand, that 1 upon 2 can be converted into 0.5. That was point number 1. Similarly, point number 4 says that a decimal can also be converted into a fraction. And how is that possible? That is possible with the following method. You will just write whatever decimal is mentioned over here. So I will write 2.5. After that, what I will do, I will just write the denominator as 1, as you have studied in the previous chapter, that in case the denominator is not mentioned and only a number is mentioned as an integer, and since we are now studying decimals as a decimal, then the denominator by default is 1. Now, in order to remove this decimal, what can we do? We can multiply it by 10 on both numerator and denominator. This will give us 25 upon 10. I will write it over here. This will give us 25 upon 10. And after that, what we will do, we will divide 25 upon 10 and we will see what the answer is. Okay, so this will go 2 times and this will become 20, and then this will be 5 as a denominator, and answer will be that we have two whole parts. We have 5 parts of tenth, that is 5 tenths, and therefore this will be the fraction. And you can simplify it. How? You can simplify it by simplifying 5 upon 10. That will become 2 1 upon 2, and therefore this represents 2 upon 5. So I hope you understand how to convert a decimal into a fraction and how to convert a fraction into a decimal. So these are the 4 points which you can understand with only one example, that is 1 upon 2 and any other, 3 upon 2, 1 upon 2, any other. So I hope that the topic of decimals is clear to everyone, and there are certain things which I'd like to mention beforehand so that you do not face any difficulty or any confusion while doing any of the exercises. Before doing the exercises, we will go through the topic of comparing decimals in our next video and some of the unsolved examples which are mentioned in the NCERT. So that we will go through, but also I would like to mention there are 2 points which I'd like to mention so that there is no confusion, or if there is any confusion, it can be dealt the next time. Okay, चलो, तो अब क्या है कि डेसिमल्स में दो चीजें और मैं बताना चाह रहा हूं, वो ये है that in case you have a decimal that is mentioned as 0.5, okay, and there is a decimal that is mentioned as 5.1, okay. The thing to be understood is that number or digit 0 can be placed on the left side of the decimal point at the extreme as many times as you like. That is, on the left side of the decimal at the extreme as many as you like. It can be written as 0005.1, and this also can be written as 0.00000, how many times? So it will be 0.00000.5, and this will be equal to 0.5 or also equal to 0.5. So 0 on the left side of the decimal point at the extremes are not valuable. It can be written, it cannot be written. Next thing is that that the 0 on the right side of the decimal point at the extremes can also be written as many times as you like. It can be written 5 times, 10 times, or 5,000 times. Similarly, over here, that you can write it on the right side of the decimal point at the extremes as many times as you like. The value of the decimal will not change. So this is zero point 0.5 and this is zero point 0.6, which I would like to understand. That is on the left of the decimal point at the extremes, the position of 0 as many times as you like, and on the right side of the decimal at the extremes as many times as you like. The last point which I would like to mention is that if a 0 is placed between a non-zero number and the decimal point, either on the left or on the right, then it will have a distinction, then it will have a difference in its value. For example, if I write 5.05, okay, and if I write 50.005, or if I write 50.5. So all the three numbers are actually different in its comparison. None of the three are equal to each other. And if you would like to write them in ascending order, then this will be the greatest, and then this will be this 50.005, and then it will be 5.05. So the seventh point that is to be noted down is that the placement of zeros between a non-zero number and the decimal point, either on the left or on the right, will create a difference in the value of the decimal depending upon how many times the zero is mentioned. So if it is 5.05, it will be different. It will be lesser than 50.005. Then 50.005 will be lesser than 50.5. So with this seventh point, you can understand that if number of zeros between the non-zero number and the decimal point at the left side of the decimal point are there, so more number of zeros, therefore the greater the value of the decimal will be. That is, you can see that 5.05 is less than 50.05. Therefore, zeros on the left side of the decimal point between a non-zero number and the decimal point increase its value. However, the zeros on the right side of the decimal point between decimal point and the non-zero number decrease the value. How can you understand that? Here there are no zeros or zero zeros, and here there are two zeros. That is why the lesser number of zeros on the right side will increase the value, and the greater number of zeros on the left side of the decimal point will increase the value. Pause the video, write it down. If you have written down all these 7 points of the decimal, the whole chapter is complete. You can solve the whole chapter on your own for those who have the habit of learning or making notes of them on their own. And if you have not written down these 7 points, the next lectures of this chapter will be a total disaster or a total hassle for each and every one. So I will advise every student, every viewer to write these 7 points, rewind the video, pause the video, make the notes of these 7 points. If you have made that, then the whole lecture, then the whole chapter of decimals will be as easy as you can think of it. So with this, we come to an end of this lecture. That is what are decimals. Each and every point has been discussed. And in the next video, we'll discuss how to compare decimals, which is just a 2-minute concept. And after that, we'll come on the unsolved examples and the exercise and so on. So if you have not subscribed to our channel, do hit the subscribe button and like our videos. In case you have any questions or suggestions for us, then you can just comment in the comment section. And I would like to apologize for the audio distortion that you have faced in the chapter 7 of class 6 mathematics, and some screen hanging issues which may or may not have been noticed by our viewers. That problem has been resolved, and from this video onwards, we will have a smooth and uninterrupted experience. So till the next time we meet, revise the concepts and goodbye.